Hey, how's it going? My name's Chris. I'm the co-founder at 3BM's Marketing, and we are with Derek and Anna today at Dirty Birdy, and we're going to talk through their experience with us helping them with Meta. So, Derek, Anna, we'll go ahead and start there. Let's go ahead and talk about your guys' brands, who you are, and who you guys help.
Yeah, so I'm Anna, and we are the co-founders of Dirty Birdy. We're a women's workwear brand. So we launched about a year ago, and we started out with women's work pants. So durable pants that are functional, but also stylish, comfortable, move with you.
I'm more on a lot of the back end stuff. So I'm working with 3BM and on some of our marketing efforts, and then also like website and more back end stuff, less customer facing, but still behind the scenes.
Awesome. Yeah, cool. So essentially, when we came in and started helping you guys came to us for a couple of reasons. But prior to that conversation, kind of what was marketing looking like, and kind of where was the brand at?
Yeah, absolutely. So I don't have a background in marketing, and
Neither of us do.
we're engineers by training. But this was kind of like a side passion project just to see what we could do. Previously, we were just kind of running our own marketing, which meant we weren't sending out many emails or anything like that because we just didn't have the time or bandwidth. But also the meta ads that I was running, I was kind of just clicking turning on every single option that Meta asks you to, and just trying to throw spaghetti at the wall and see what stuck. That translated to a low ROAS and just basically not great performing ads. And I also didn't really know what to change. So I had no system, no process of kind of tweaking things. And even when I did have some luck and just got an ad that converted some people, I didn't really know why.
How long were you kind of pressing buttons and throwing spaghetti for?
Yeah, it was probably a good 6 months of that.
Yeah.
And yeah, I would say around 6 months.
Okay, gotcha. And when we initially spoke, it was primarily about email, but eventually the relationship evolved into helping you guys with Meta. So before we had that conversation, what kind of prompted you to say, hey, we're going to start looking for help on this?
I think we were feeling some of those pains and frustrations that I expressed earlier. And we actually saw an ad for you guys on Instagram. And it felt like, hey, this is speaking to me. And when we reached out, I think one of the things that was kind of impressive about you guys is we kind of explained our situation. We were, I think at the point we were almost out of inventory or completely out of inventory. And you basically coached us through it and just said, hey, actually, this is probably not the time yet to sign up for us, but let's touch base again in like 3 months or whenever you're about to get inventory. So it was kind of like a refreshing like encounter. It didn't feel like, hey, you're trying to sell us and sign us up immediately. You genuinely wanted what was best for us in the moment. And that's kind of prompted us to reach out again when we were further along.
I'll also add to that, we're a completely self-funded business. So Derek and I have personally funded everything that we've put into Dirty Birdy thus far. And so with that, you feel a little more pressure to know that each dollar you're putting in, you get something out of. And before we really had a strategy to Meta or emails or anything that you guys have helped us with, it was kind of like, we're throwing this money in, we don't really know what's coming out. And that was a big piece of why we felt like we needed more of a strategy and needed some help from experts like you guys. We didn't really know what we were doing, to be completely honest.
Yeah, totally fair. I mean, that conversation we had on that initial call, how'd that kind of land with you guys? I know you guys spoke with me, and I was like, hey, this probably isn't the right time. Let's check back in like 3 months. Need to solve your inventory problems. Let's kind of see how things are. How'd that conversation kind of go, and how did it land for you? Because you said it was refreshing, but is there anything specific you remember about it that's like, hey, I like these guys, let's talk to them?
Yeah, I mean, I think in general, like, you're super easy to talk to, Chris. And I think when you see ads for a lot of marketing agencies, they're like, it's almost like you're at Times Square or in Las Vegas where you're just like trying to get hit with all these different conversion type strategies. I don't know, e-commerce businesses can use to acquire customers. So it just didn't feel like it was, you guys were trying to oversell your services to us. It also didn't seem like there was any sort of like, hey, if you don't use us, you guys are screwed. It was just like a normal conversation, talking to a real person. I think that just is what we liked.
Yeah, a lot of the other agencies will put these flashy numbers out there of like, we'll increase your revenue by 10x. And it's like, will you really?
Yeah.
So yeah, to kind of emphasize Derek's point, it was, you guys also seem like you're very in touch with every single client you work with. And like it was helpful to know that you've also worked with brands at our size, at our stage, that are kind of building from the ground up pretty early on, just doing it ourselves as kind of a two-man team here, not working with a ton of extra resources. So that was helpful and comforting to know as well that you've helped other people in our shoes.
I think the ad that we saw too, it was for a brand or a product that we use on our kids. So it was like, hey, we immediately, I think it was a similar format where you were talking with the founders of that company, and we were basically, I don't know, just recognized the brand immediately, and it seemed like a really nice organic conversation. So we felt good about it.
Yeah, that's great. I'm glad to hear that. That's something we try to do. It's a conversation. The channels and the marketing piece is part of growing the business, and we hear that from you guys. We hear now, and then other people too. Is like, we're not going to promise the moon and the stars. What we're going to do is see what your situation is and build toward it. And that's I'm glad to hear that. So thank you for saying that. Once you guys decided, we said, hey, in 3 months or so we'll talk. We had that conversation. We jumped on it. I know we started with email, but if we can focus on Meta, that'd be cool. So I think that's where like a huge impact happened for you guys. So when you guys first onboarded regarding Meta, how'd that process go, and how did it go meeting Aaron and like just getting into the weeds and getting things started?
Yeah, absolutely. I think you guys had like some clear instruction and documentation to help us get things set up and get you access. And there was like a Slack channel set up that was super easy to kind of talk through initial setup on. And then there was just documentation via like a Google Sheet or something like that to kind of lay out what the plan was. And then with Aaron, there was kind of like back and forth via video calls just to ensure that I was set up, or like recording videos to like walk us through things that we may be struggling with. So I think the communication has been like top notch, and that's like a lot of the things that can make or break a relationship. So that's been super helpful. And then the actual like process of getting things running, I mean, I think we there's like different phases to get these meta ads set up, and each phase just seemed very straightforward, where we were able to go from like, hey, click-through rates initially to then, hey, actually optimizing for sales. And like the process of like running the first campaign with you guys versus to where we are now, running specific, a lot of different creatives, it was pretty straightforward.
I know Derek's been kind of managing most of the ads with Aaron, but it seems like just from an outside perspective that he's demystified a lot of the intricacies of Meta. As Derek mentioned, like there are so many buttons and knobs, figuratively, that you can twist and turn on and off. And it seemed like based off the documentation and kind of Aaron's guidance, it just simplified the process a lot.
Yeah, there's certainly like, I think you can't even get a hold of anyone on the Meta side until you hit a certain like dollar amount of like how much you spent. And I was able to once, and I talked to the person, and he seemed helpful, but like essentially what they want you to do is just turn on every single lever, which again kind of came back to the point of like, I don't know what's working and what's not working. And Aaron's guidance was it's like you guys are all about single variable testing. So that really allows you to like weed out this little change here that we cued in on worked or it didn't work, and then let's keep moving forward.
Talk a little bit more about that, because like we hear that sometimes with people. They talk to the Meta reps or people like that, and that is typically the advice is spend more and turn everything on. Meta's goal is to get as much money running through their platform as possible, and our goal is to make every dollar count as much as possible while spending there. So if you can kind of talk me through that of like, what was that conversation with the rep like, and then how did Aaron kind of break that expectation or like demystify for you?
It was a while ago. I'm not going to remember all of it very clearly.
Anything specifically? Because like the turning everything on versus we're specifically testing variables is a good point. Maybe go there. What kind of variables were we testing that you guys noticed were like, oh, didn't even think to do that?
So I think that the Meta rep, there's all these sorts of like enhancements to either creative or headlines, and they'll like, I mean, it's hard to not turn those on. They'll just add music. They'll make your product like, they'll tune faces on images of models, and you don't even know what's happening. They'll like make AI versions of these things. So really it's harder to not ensure they're not turned on. But when those things get turned on, you're not controlling how it actually lands with your customer. And our customer is, I don't know, like real people that are building real things with their hands and acting in different ways, just in the physical real world. So like those types of enhancements are a turnoff a lot of the times.
It's kind of a red flag.
Yeah, it's a red flag. And I mean, when I go to a website and I see like, hey, all the images are AI generated, that's a turnoff. Is the product even real? Does it exist? Like, are these real people that are using it? So yeah, Aaron was kind of able to coach me through exactly what the different, I don't know, things that we're going to be testing. Yeah, what the different variables would be that we're testing. And I think methodically kind of worked through the different headlines and hooks on the actual text and how that is how the creative with like the description or the headline is sent to the customer, like what the actual text variations could be. So once we were able to figure that out, like, hey, these type of text combinations result in higher click-through rates, we were able to then kind of focus more on the creative.
I was just going to say, it's amazing how the smallest tweaks can actually make a difference.
Yeah.
Like, buyer psychology is so interesting. So
yeah, we could spend days nerding out about that, because you change one or two words in a hook and it changes click through like crazy.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's really cool to hear that again, he guided you guys through that, kind of showed you what that was like and what actual testing looks like. Because we'll run into some reps that say turn everything on and just run money until something works and then just do more of that. What does more of that mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. So that's good to hear. So once we got things up and running, that process, actually talk me through that process, getting from where you guys are at with your account to that setup. Like, was it a couple days? Was it a week? Was it a couple weeks? Like, what was that process like?
Yeah, I mean, I think like the actual setup process, getting you guys access and like the Meta account set up correctly. And I think we even had some like major issues with our Meta account where it was like created on one Facebook profile and then we were trying to use it for something else. So I would say like stepping through all of those hoops and getting through those hurdles was probably around a week. So pretty quick. I don't know. I probably had some like anxiety that was just hanging over my head around the whole Meta ad platform because I knew it wasn't set up correctly, but I also didn't know how to rectify the situation because you can't get anyone on the phone.
Yep.
So having you guys as a resource to kind of ensure that was set up correctly was I don't know, worth that first month in our fees to you guys or your fees to us immediately. There was just immediate value provided. So yeah, the setup probably was around a week, and then there was like the initial like headline and hook testing. I think just focusing on a click-through rate that didn't translate to sales immediately. I want to say that was probably around another week, and then we started focusing on actual sales.
Yeah, the process that's spot on. It usually takes about 5 to 10 for the message hook testing, and then creative another 3 to 7 depending on the brand and the account. So that's right in line. I'd love to hear that. You guys, it sounds like you had certainty and clarity once we got started. Once everything was running, it was like, hey, we know where we're going, we know the direction, we know what we're testing. Now let's put some money behind this and see what Meta gives us. Now the fun part, what are some milestones and results that you guys saw once we got everything up and running after the testing was kind of through that phase and we started seeing some return? How that kind of look and how long did that take?
Yeah, absolutely. I think after that click-through like rate testing, we had quite a bit of creative already, and we had a product that we knew people liked. I mean, as soon as we started working with you guys, I think like ROAS went up to 5 or 6 on a lot of these images, and it felt like faucet. We just need to like the more the greater the budgets got, like the ROAS kind of stayed the same, and it felt like, oh crap, now we're actually running into a different issue. We're running out of our key sizes already. This was a pre-order, so we didn't even actually have the product yet. So we were running out of product before we received the product. So it's like kind of a good problem to have, and it maybe highlights where we're at in the business and some of the other things that we need to focus on. But it just felt like we could scale very quickly with your guys' guidance, so that the bottleneck was no longer how do we run ads effectively. It was, okay, now we got to get really tight on operations.
Well, I remember in the beginning when you guys said, you know, what's kind of your goal, or like, what do you want to get to? And I remember we were thinking like, oh, it'd be amazing to be able to hit, I think it was like 10 orders a day or something like that. And we got to that so fast. And now even a couple months later, it's like, 10 orders a day would be like, oh, we had a bummer day today.
Had a bad day.
yeah, exactly. So like the quick ramp up and scale that we've seen already in the short amount of time is I think super exciting for Derek and I. And like you said, now it's a great problem to have because now the issue is like, okay, well, we can't keep inventory in stock. And so we have these like ebbs and flows of like, the ads are doing really good. We're selling a bunch of pants and then we run out of inventory. And it's like, yeah, that's a different issue we have to figure out now because then we have to scale back the ads, but the algorithm maybe, punishes you for that or whatever. So but it's funny to think back on like, oh, we would be so stoked for 10 orders a day. And then now it's like, oh, well, that would be a bad day.
Yeah. What, on average, how many orders a day were you guys getting there at the peak?
When we had inventory, it was probably around, I don't know, 30 orders a day.
I think
30,
like
40.
about 5,000 a day.
Again, like Anna said, we just didn't anticipate. Yeah, now our focus is on like ensuring that we have those pants in stock because that's basically the only reason we started to taper. It wasn't like, hey, the creatives don't seem like they're working as well because we were refreshing those with your guys' guidance often enough. So it was just mainly about we don't have the product to sell. We don't have those very common sizes, which is why we're tapering off now. And I mean, we have these like back in stock notifications set up. So if you look at our email list of all the people that want to buy, it's like, holy cow, this is a lot of people that are kind of waiting to get the product. And that's not even everybody who's like visiting the site because most of the time I'm not entering my email on sites to wait for the product to show up. I'm just in the moment making the decision to buy. It ramped quickly, but now we have it's great. This part of the pipeline has been kind of figured out a little more. So now we can kind of focus our efforts elsewhere.
Yeah, well, let's just say the meta ads have been pretty game changing for the business.
That's fantastic. Thanks for saying that. It reminds me back on that initial call. I did dig into inventory with you guys a little bit. And it was like, hey, what's kind of your runway? What's order timelines? Like, what does supply chain look like? And I think it's kind of come full circle. You guys are like, cool, we're basically sold out now. Meta's running. The next constraint is how do we keep this in stock? Because the customers are there, Meta's there, the money's there. We just got to fix that constraint. So that's really cool to see. It is growing pains, but it's growing.
Yeah.
Anything else on those results? Any other milestones not related to revenue or money that you guys are like aha moments or anything that you think that's really cool outside of money and revenue?
I mean, I think the creatives have done like a really good job of finding the customers. We've had people repost and comment on a lot of our ads where it's like, this is very specific to me.
You're speaking to
me. One girl was like, you literally went into my brain, read my mind, and this is like made entirely for me.
I mean, it's kind of crazy how well it targets the right person when you have like good creative and like the right pieces in place.
Yeah.
I've done one of the coolest pieces is seeing just like how the product is being used in ways that we never could have anticipated or imagined. And, there's women doing such amazing and cool things. And just for us to be a small piece of being able to support that has been really, really fun and rewarding to see.
Yeah, Aaron and I like to think of it as a conversation, right? Like we're starting a conversation with this ad and they engage or reciprocate with either a click, a purchase, an engagement, something. And that feedback loop is what tells us what is working and what's not. And I love to think of it as a conversation because it's human to human, even though it's over tech. For you guys to get that feedback of like our customers are using our product in such ways that we couldn't even imagine, that's another area or territory we can go start the conversation in because they're sharing that back.
Yeah.
So I love hearing that they're giving feedback and they're engaging and they're enjoying the product and also engaging with you guys.
Yeah. It's a snowball effect because they ultimately open doors that we wouldn't have thought of. Like, oh, women use these pants for mountain biking. I never would have thought of that. And so, it just like gives you new little channels that you can kind of test out.
Yeah.
With or without the ads.
We've been in touch with like Anna did a photo shoot locally somewhere nearby because of someone discovered us probably from a meta ad. They're like the people that we're discovering via this avenue are helping shape the product as well. Like there's just kind of benefits that are hard to measure exactly. And there's like different ads that kind of contribute in different ways. But I don't know how we would acquire customers if we weren't doing this other than just like, hey, we're going on the road and we're visiting all these different things. It's just there's such a bigger group of people that we can get in touch with right off the bat. And it's the right group of people.
That's phenomenal. Cool. So with that being said, I'm kind of excited to hear what the next 6 to 12 to 18 months looks like. Because one, Meta's in a place where we turn it on, we can start scaling once inventory is back in place. So yeah, it's really exciting to hear you guys with the growth and kind of where Meta's at and the constraint of inventory being the next thing to solve. And with the doors opening, with people seeing you guys on Meta and just in general finding your guys' brand, what's kind of the next 6 to 12 to 18 months look like for you guys? And what kind of opportunities do you see coming around the corner that you didn't, one, that you're kind of planning for, and then two, you didn't really expect?
Yeah, I can start. So we have a ton of exciting things going on right now. Most, or I would say primary around like improving our existing products as well as new products. So we started out with 3 different pairs of pants. The carpenter pant has been kind of our core flagship product. It's the most popular. It's fan favorite. People love it, obsess over it. A lot of people come back and have every color of it, which is really cool. So we're making a couple of small updates on it just to I think Derek mentioned this before, like one of the coolest things about being at our stage in the business is that we are small enough and agile enough to be able to incorporate customer feedback. So we're kind of constantly trying to iterate to make the pant better or make it the best that it can be. So we're making some small updates on the carpenter pant. We're also kind of using that as our core and then expanding on it. So we're working on making a fleece lined version of the carpenter pant. We have a ton of customers that live in cold states, Pac Northwest, Montana, Idaho, all the northern states. So we're working on a fleece line version. We're also working on a fire resistant version of the carpenter pant for all of the female welders out there, and people that need FR pants. And then for new products, we're working on overalls. So taking the carpenter pants and adding the bib up top, which I think will also be the fleece lined, as well as the FR version as well. And then we're also working on a net new pant. We don't really know what we're going to call it yet. Some type of shop pant that's going to be a little more form fitted down the leg and just like a super utilitarian, just like really technical pant that's going to be pretty bomb proof. So if you're rolling around, working on a car or in a machine shop or whatever it might be, that would be the pant for those people.
Nice.
So yeah, we have a ton of stuff going on the product side. And then just working through some of the growing pains that we've talked about. So, trying to tighten up the supply chain. We're looking at, our relationships with the factories and the fabric mills and that type of deal. What else? I feel like I'm missing. There's a ton going on behind the scenes right now.
Any external partnerships? You said like if you guys go on the road or like customers who ride mountain bikes and stuff are kind of getting into the gear and stuff or into your product. Any conversations around other external partners like, hey, we like your brand, let's talk? Anything like that going on?
Not necessarily on the like brand partnership side, but we did just open up our first wholesale account locally, so that was really cool.
Congrats.
So,
there you go.
Thanks. We're excited about that.
Cool. Yeah. So with all the stuff you guys have been working on with the products and just expanding the line, you had mentioned that wholesale, you guys just closed one of your guys' first deals.
Yeah. So we just opened up our first wholesale account locally, which we're really excited about. That had been in the works for a little bit. So once we kind of sort through the inventory and like operations and logistics stuff of like having inventory in place at all times, we definitely hope to expand on that. We do get actually quite a few wholesale requests, which is really cool. So hopefully later this year we'll be able to kind of capitalize on some of those and be able to expand the reach of the pant and open up some more.
That's fantastic. Accounts. Congrats. That's so cool to hear.
Thanks.
People are taking note and they're wanting to buy. That's great. So, couple more questions for you. Looking back on everything that's happened so far since before with frustration with Meta and just marketing, us coming in and helping out with you guys and just getting you to where you're at now, and then understanding the new constraint is inventory and just supply chain. What's something you wish you knew sooner that you would have done sooner, or something you wish you knew sooner that you realize now or recently?
I wish we would have met you guys sooner. That's amazing. No, that's a good question. I mean, it's hard to inventory. I feel like inventory planning is, one of the hardest pieces of the business, because you have to have a really deep understanding of like the cash flow management. And when you're that early on, like it's hard to anticipate some of the expenses that are going to come up when it's something you've never done before or that type of deal. Something I wish we knew sooner. Probably just like ordering more frequent and smaller amounts. Like I think we, as far as inventory, have done like pretty big shipments. And so I feel like if we would have chunked that out, it maybe would have helped out our timing. Because it really does hurt us to be, you know, have all this momentum and be doing really well as far as sales, the meta ads are performing, and then just have everything completely drop off and have to kind of rebuild that again. So that's been a big challenge for us that I wish we would have anticipated a little bit sooner, which again, it's hard when you've just never really done it before. So you don't really know what to anticipate. Yeah. I don't know if you would have anything different, but
yeah, I mean, I think the relationship with you guys has allowed us to leverage kind of a lot of years of experience in this specific like marketing domain. So we're able to use you guys as a resource and ask questions. But I think for business owners that are brand new, starting out, like when you're finding these people or teams to work with, like you're not just getting like the I don't know, the output of the service. Like you're getting, I would say, the mentorship and the expertise on and like the training to kind of know if you're making the right decisions. So I think you guys have been like very, very helpful for us in our growth, but like finding those people for other parts of the business to allow us to like speed the learning curve up would be helpful too.
And just one quick thing to add on to that, I think, and this is really scary, especially like, you know, like I said, when you're self-funded and you're kind of putting all your own money towards this, but putting resources in place, like slightly before you need them. So like, for example, we hired a gal to help with fulfillment for packing orders, as well as managing returns and exchanges and processing all of those. And she started literally the day after we got our massive shipment for the pre-order.
Oh,
so gosh. I think we had like something like 800 or 900 orders to ship out from the like 2 or 3 months that we had pre-orders open, or maybe less time than that. But anyways, we had like 800 or 900 orders to ship out, and she started the day after we got the like 60 or 70 boxes of pants and then had to ship all of those out. And so it's like for things like that, it's like, okay, thinking ahead as far as resources go, you know, maybe I should have had her start even just like 2 weeks prior to start learning the systems, learning how to do things. And like even now we just hired someone to help with some of the social media, and Derek and I were even just talking last night, like, man, should we have hired her right now, or should we have waited a couple months because we're trying to like scale things back and stay super lean right now? Well, we don't have a ton of inventory and don't have a ton of money coming in, but it's like, okay, no, let's get her ramped up, let's get her like autonomous, because there is a training phase with hiring anybody and growing and, you know, offloading some of the things that we're used to doing. There is a big learning curve, so let's get her ramped up now so that when we are super busy and do need the help with that, she's fully good to go and autonomous.
She's there,
kind of the resource management and people aspect of it too is
team and timing is huge.
Yes,
especially with a physical product, because that 2 week difference could do some damage or do some great stuff. So
exactly.
That's awesome. That's really cool to hear. Again, growing pains, right? Like just figuring out as you go, solving the problems as you can go. And I appreciate you guys saying that too, of just how the capability and the capacity that we've been able to open up for you guys. That's really cool to hear. Aaron was sharing stats and stuff with me over time as you guys were working on Meta, and I was just looking at it going, wow, this is a 100, 500, maybe 1,000 order a day brand with the velocity you guys have. Like it's there. The potential's there. And it's super exciting.
Thanks. I mean, it's all thanks to you guys. I wish we could just like take you and clone you for every aspect of the business.
We enjoy it. We've been enjoying working with you guys too. So one more and one, I guess, last question here is, if somebody was sitting in your guys' chair 6 months ago, 12 months ago, however, wherever you guys made that decision to say, hey, let's jump on with Chris and Aaron at 3BM. If they're on the fence, like, I don't really know, what would you tell them? Is there a line or an idea or a concept? What would you give them?
I don't think you can do it all yourself. Like, I think I thought like, hey, I'm going to save the money. I'm going to just do this myself. But I was actually costing myself more money because I didn't know what I was doing and just throwing money into this vortex that I didn't really know what was happening. So like, I mean, we've talked to people kind of running their own business and things like that. And I don't know, your dollar just goes so much further if you just like ante up a little more. I mean, it feels like, hey, any money when you're super lean is like expensive to spend, or it's like, I shouldn't be spending any of this, but like you have to spend the money to get the output on a lot of these things. And your dollar just goes so much further if you just work with professionals.
It's really hard to relinquish control in the beginning when you are used to doing everything. I feel like as founders, that is one of the hardest parts, is letting go of certain pieces of the business or certain tasks or roles or whatever it might be. Because I mean, you've spent years of your life like pouring everything you have into this. I mean, we've spent 3 years building this, and so it's hard to relinquish that role. But just like trusting your gut, and that was exactly what we did with you guys. We had a really good sense of, you know, who you guys were and what the work you do and the partnership. That was one aspect, is it was like you guys very much made it seem like it was going to be a partnership. It's not just like a paid service, but we're here to be your partners, your mentors, to guide you through that, guide us through that. So that went a long way for us, and we trusted our gut and went with you guys, and it's paid off in more ways than we could even imagine. Like I said, it's been really game changing for our business. So
I think there's a tendency to just hire the cheapest person you can as well. And I think working with you guys has been totally reasonable. Like, we're actually doing the mentorship plan where it's like, hey, you're guiding us and you're not running everything for us yet. I mean, we want to get there where it's just totally hands off, but there's all these different services that you can outsource work to now, like Fiverr or Upwork or things like that. And just the experiences on those types of platforms can be so hit or miss in terms of knowing what you're getting, that it's just like, I don't know, made me realize you're always going to get what you pay for, and like work with people that you can trust right off the bat, you have good communication with. And that's just been.
But I will say, you guys have exceeded that. I feel like you've given us way more value than what we paid for. So
absolutely.
If I
thank you.
were to say anything, it's just work with 3B.
Work with us. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Please.
It's a mix of, you guys have a great product and some cool customers, and two, we enjoy this stuff. We enjoy helping you guys get from where you were to where you're at now, and then in the future getting the point where it's like, hey, remember when 10 orders a day was a lot, or 50 was a lot, or 100 was a lot? I want to have that conversation here in the next couple of years, if not sooner. And you guys like, we got logistics figured out, we got this figured out, and we have tens of thousands of customers. That's the potential I see for you guys' brand, and it's so exciting.
We're really excited about it too.
So cool. Last thing, anything you guys maybe think or you want to touch on or talk about maybe we didn't talk about today that you want to share? Any kind of situations, questions, anything like that?
The only thing I'll say is, even though you guys, are a marketing agency, you've helped us in more ways than just that, even like around the inventory stuff. Like, I think Derek had asked several times in the Slack about like, hey, what would you guys do in this scenario? And seeing your experience is unique or background, because you get to see what a bunch of different other brands do. So you can lend advice out to more than just like the specific meta stuff or the specific email stuff. So that's why I think you guys are so valuable.
I appreciate that. It's something that usually shows up later in the relationship, because it's like, hey, get in on meta, get that working. And then now the constraints inventory. So what do we do? And it's like, oh, we have a dozen brands that do these different types of models. Which one kind of fits your situation, and then problem solve from there. So it's I definitely appreciate you guys saying that. That's really cool to hear. Cool. Awesome. If nothing else, we'll go ahead and wrap up, and then we'll do a debrief.
Sounds good.
Great.
Cool.
Thanks, guys.
Awesome. Thanks.